Hi guys, we have a 2018 Ford Transit Custom, and what I have, you can see the indicator is on, but I have no indicator working here. But I'm going to go back probing and trying to see why I have changed this bulb. I think the man had only 5 minutes and I put a new bulb in here and it didn't fix it. The door has been kind of twisted or kinked out at a point, so I don't know if there's wiring issue inside or what, but we're going to go in and just see. And we'll start at the start here, and I'll just make sure that I have contacts and stuff working here. Okay guys, I have went ahead and I've got a power probe, very handy adapter I believe, if you for sticking into the actual cigarette lighter, I'm going to call it, but 12 volt power point. All right. So right now we're connected to nothing, showing us that we have 0 volts. Right, I'm going to do this. What I'm going to do, I'm going up and I'm going to look at the pins in the bottom of them. So I'm looking for ground. So that one, you can hear the audible tone, but that's not really what you're going to be able to see. Any chance I can get both of these in shot with the one hand around, and the other one is nothing. Okay, we have a ground. I don't have the indicator turned on now, so because of that I'm not going to have anything at the second one. Okay, indicator is up and running at this point. I've also went ahead and taken off the door panel just for test purposes. Okay, we'll get my, if we can get me, let's see what I'm in shot again. Again, apologies about the camera work. Oh well gosh, don't be great. That's one hand. Okay, I can see that that's ground still. Our other pin that we are touching off at this point, you can see we have nothing there. Okay, just to verify. You can see me touching off the side of it. Okay, so I have nothing on the second pin. I'm going to go back in. Now, just as a visual, loom coming in here, I actually popped off. I didn't actually do a whole lot. All the wires are black, which is kind of, dare I say, a hindrance. Nearly silly from Ford. I know a lot of lads do it nowadays, but they're all black, so I can't identify what's what. In here, I have a brown and a grey, and that's going out into the door, and that's my wires that are heading up and into the mirror. That's Marvel the dog. And right, what I could do, not what I could do, what I'm going to do, I'm going to back probe one of these. I'd suggest that the brown one is probably going to be ground. Okay, you can hear and I can hear, and I'm going to get that. Okay, that's our ground. Now, with no bulb in it, so the other wire will not be a ground at this point in time because we've no continuity. It should be 12 volts actually, but our indicator, as you see, is flashing, and I have nothing here on my power probe. What I'm going to do, just to prove continuity of the wiring from my mirror to here, is I'm going to put in my bulb. Now that ground wire, the brown ground wire, is going to ground all the way up to the actual mirror, through the bulb, back down, and this wire is going to become a ground if my bulb and the wiring is intact. Okay, so that's going to prove continuity because I have nothing there at this point. Yeah, as you saw already, nothing there at this point, but I'm going to get a green ground once I connect in my bulb. Again, this is going to have to be, what will I say? I was going to say single-handed, where I was going to I can actually hear it there when I'm popping it in. Okay, so now we do know we have continuity. Sorry with the noise. We do know we have continuity because we have ground here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push this to positive. That's me going. Okay. Can turn the noise off, but again, single-handedly I won't be able. So now we've proved that the wires from here to the mirror are intact. We do not need to take off the mirror. It can be left alone, and we're just going to chase from here back in to the loom, back to here potentially. What I will see, if I have if I go back probing here, this is going to be my way of going at it now. If I go back probing there, without looking at wiring diagrams after that, I'm going to have a ground somewhere that I lose when I take out the bulb. So if I have a ground, that's one of the wires I'm going to try, and I'm going to pull it out, and then I'm going to test from here, that here being in the door jamb, to the actual light to see if I get the same result. If I can get the same result, the problem is going to be not in the door, it's going to be from the door or the pillar, A pillar back into the car. But if I can't make the bulb work from here, the problem is going to be in my door, if you're getting my thought process. Right? I'll drive on and I'll start back probing here, and I'll show you. I go through the slow bits and then I'll show you the faster bits. Talk to you in a second. Okay guys, I just started back probing. I haven't found the wire that I'm chasing after, but just on one of the wires on the plug, you can nearly see it. It's the second row and the second wire out. I have, sorry, my connector. I have, what you can see, nearly looks similar to what you'd think you'd see at an indicator, but my indicator is off. So this, you can't see it with the reflection of my, I actually turned off the ignition there now and it's gone dead. Is the indicator on or not? On or off, it's doing the same thing. So indicator on, indicator off. Just to show, I'm going to go and I'm going to get rid of this now. 1 second. Okay, hard to see this thing, guys, isn't it? There is a little scope on this thing. So on the S, scope. So we have some form of pulse width modulation going to something, don't know what it's for, but it's not to do with my indicator. It's just interesting to show that this little power probe does that. So if anyone wants a handy baby little scope, press one singular button, not hard to use, and then go on to ohms, turn off that noise, volts, and onto scope, okay? But as I said, that wire is not indicator derived, but it did look like I would have potentially have been getting power and then seeing the ground from the bulb, power, ground, it looked like, but anyway, that's not the case, okay? I'm going to drive on and keep back probing. Okay guys, I didn't look at the wiring diagram, but I was, dare I say, getting myself getting confused here for a minute. So I was sending myself down the garden path, and I think it's good to maybe talk about this crack. So why was I sending myself down the garden path? I was in here at all my bunch of black wires trying to find a ground that I could lose when I took out the bulb out here. But if I have a broken wire between here, in, around, and this, I won't have a ground here because my ground wire is intact, as we've seen, coming as far as here, going up to the mirror and coming back down. But if the wire is broken after this point, between here and here, I won't have a ground. So no point in me going looking for anything. So if I'm all black wires, how am I going to find what I'm looking for between here and here? Inside the door, but between here and here. So that was getting me kind of a little bit, my head was going, as mechanics you'll know what I'm kind of talking about. So I didn't look at the wiring diagram, okay? According to the wiring diagram, it's a green and violet wire. And that, yellow and violet wire. That is the yellow. The violet is a little strip on the very, very side of it. You can actually, you can see it there actually, that's not so bad. Now, I back probed that, but when I back probed that, I have a ground. Now, the yellow and violet wire is joined together, so connected to the actual wire that's going to the indicator on the headlight. So they're just piggybacked. So what I'm going to be seeing is, I'm going to be seeing the ground that's coming through the bulb at the headlight, okay? Simplistic things, but boy, sometimes they get you. So you'd have to slow down. A lot of lads don't show all this little bit of confusion on the camera, but anyway, I'm showing you why I got kind of a bit for about 5 or 6 minutes. So we looked at the wiring diagram, grey, yellow and violet, but when back probing it, I have a ground. To get me bulb, I'm not losing my ground. I don't have a ground at the other side of it. And the reason being is bulb and the headlight is giving me the ground, as I said, that I'm finding in it my yellow and violet wire. And the reason I don't have it at the other side is potentially because I'm going to have a broken wire somewhere in the door. If you're picking that up. If we're getting it right. So the ignition actually pops off. Now because the other bulb is piggybacked and the headlight is piggybacked here, we should actually have, we do. That's the first time we have to do it. Why do we have that? the reason that's actually working, there's no modules in this door, so it's only an old van, so it's a very basic door. It's not going to be LIN bus or CAN communication or any of that crack going in. It's just wires. But the reason the car has not seen anything wrong is because it sees the piece, not PCM, the body control module or whatever is working the lights, multifunction control module it is actually. The multifunction control module is seeing a ground at the wire. It's going to send the power out to the light because the bulb is in the headlight. So when you turn the key on, what's happening is the multifunction control module wants to see a ground on the control or the signal wire. That's going out, the ground is going out the ground wire to the bulb, through the bulb, back in the control wire. It sees the ground. Once it sees the ground, it'll send power out to it, knowing that there's a consumer in that wiring loom somewhere it's going to illuminate or light. Because this is wired in parallel, the repeater lamp is wired in parallel, it's not really concerned about this actual circuit. If you're picking up that, a little bit confusing. Get it? A little bit. We'll go in, we're going back probe the other side of that block connector. This may be a little bit long-winded, but sometimes it's nice to show maybe the whole thought process. That's down in the very bottom corner, so we're going to go in here. It's nice to show the whole thought process rather than, I don't know, just the easy bits. I don't be, you've seen this with me before, I don't be great single-handed, but who is? Right, the car's at the front off again. Okay, I'm back in at the far side of that green and violet wire, and I have absolutely nothing. And if I send power out there, I won't get anything at my bulb because we have some form of a break in that line. So between here and here, I have a break. Now if I put a jumper cable in from here to here, my indicator will be working. I'll do that just as a format, just to show. So I'm going to throw in a jumper cable right fast in there. I'll actually, because I'm back probed there, what I'm going to want to do is prove continuity across this. What I'm going to do is just to cable off the power probe I'll use, and I'm going to back probe in here, but I have to go over and get a back probing pin. Maybe I should, I'll do it like again. Sometimes it's a bit going with them pins. Kind of a nice set of pins here. Again, that's probably shouting at the screen, so no, just stop or pause. I probably should. Right, we said the brown wire was our ground, so the grey is what I am back probing, or going to back probe. Doesn't go in, or hasn't gone in very well. Okay, now, if we turn on, I was going to say if we turn on a power probe, we would see, but sure, I'm after using that lead neither here or there. We turn on an indicator. Look, there's the simplest form of, we'll see what happens here. Ooh, now, interesting, I still don't have anything working out here. What be happening now? Trying to go off and drop the camera and start looking at it with the two hands. Yeah, I'd be better off to put my lead in there and see what I have, so I have no test. I don't know if my back probing pin is not working in here or what, but I'm not getting a connection, or I'm not getting a connection here. I better go testing again and show you. But I believe at this point I'm going to have a wire broken somewhere in here. Okay guys, I pulled back that little thing a bit and I stuck the pin in a bit harder. So at this point in time I have indicators on and I have activity happening here. I'm going to pop this apart. I'm going to get this back probing pin again. We're swapping around now, so I have the yellow one gone up here, which has a bit of a longer little neck on it than this one. Do I have an indicator? Ooh, okay. So the variables are now, at this point, it's not the pin block connector pin here at this point. It's definitely going to be between here and here. So we can disconnect here, we can disconnect here, we can do a continuity check on the wire between, we'll say, point A and point B. But in there's a power feed wire broken. So at least the problem is drilled down to only here. Simple, easy set of shutting down there, so fail safe mode. Is that they're being pinpointed to just here. It's not the mirror, it's between here and here. Where? We'll figure it out. Okay guys, well, kick yourself in the bottom. The first thing I started doing is I started pulling a bit harder. I had pulled, will I call it the rubber, up this way and looked in at the wires. I had pulled it the opposite way, but I was unable to see the middle bit. When I went in a bit harder, I was in from the back. Originally I couldn't see it, but when I went in a bit harder, I found that. It's not the wire, the big heavy wire, which is probably going to go into electric windows or something. But I see that, and once I see that, I'm like, ooh. And then I went down and I just tugged as I would normally on my small little wire, and lo and behold. So a lot of lads are going to be saying, sure, jeez, that was the simplest and easiest thing you could ever find. It's the simple and easy ones that are the ones that would, I suppose, sometimes send you down the piggybacks road. But anyway, neither here nor there. It's the thought process and the direction, maybe, if 'tis of any good. That's where we're standing today. Simple, easy, didn't have system, but yet you'd have an hour or so lost on taking a door panel off, on proving that it's not between the mirror and the block connector, proving that the car wiring is getting to the block connector at the A pillar or the door pillar, and then your test process. As I said, I got kind of fuffled there when I was looking for a ground, which a broken wire wasn't going to find the ground. But I would have had a ground constant at the, I was looking for one that I can break with my bulb, but anyway, that I could take the bulb and break the circuit and lose the ground. But I wasn't going to find it because it was coming through the headlight. So it's the test process here that's maybe some bit that I'm trying to log and show and stuff. And guys, look, might be a long-winded, silly video, but anyway, there we go. Testing, hunting down. No need to see the repair. You have enough of listening to me at this point in time. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next cartoon, all right? Please like and subscribe if any of the points or hints and tips I give are any good to you. And thanks for all the comments, guys. Talk to you soon. Talk to you in the next video.